if the thing you're offering to me has no value, I don't want to log on Instagram and see some sort of cleavage. You know, ladies who are almost naked on my Instagram. I don't want to see that. Or men who are so obsessed with gym and the only thing they have to show is the six-pack. I don't want that. People like that, I unfollow. Because I don't feel I'm getting any value from that. If you are a personal trainer, okay, then that's different because I'm very much into fitness. Then yes, I can learn a few tips from you. So you own your algorithm. You decide what they feed you with. You have that power. And so I cleaned up early this year. There's a couple of people that I unfollowed. Even on Facebook, I unfollowed them because if I keep it and it keeps showing up on my feed, then my algorithm will keep feeding me that. So you have the power to change what you are seeing on social media. It starts by you searching for specific content that you want to navigate towards, you want to transition towards. If you feel like enough of fashion, enough of celebrity gossip, enough of who is dating who, I'm tired of all this information, then start. You don't necessarily even have to unfollow all of those people. What you do is start navigating towards content that is completely opposite from what you are checking or from what you constantly feed yourself with. And the algorithm, AI is going to understand, oh, this is your new interest, and they'll feed you with it. It may take a couple of days, a couple of weeks for you to finally understand this person is transitioning, but eventually it will happen. Now, and there's also a problem with over-personalization of content, in my opinion.
Over-personalization of content? What is that?
So what we're talking about is personalization of content, meaning that whatever content you've been watching, the algorithm keeps feeding you that's personalization.
Okay. Gives you one thing.
Yeah. So now the problem with that is that you have this narrow mindset.
Okay. Go deeper.
So with me, even on YouTube, there are times I disrupt that personalization of the content YouTube is feeding me with. I go because I want to be challenged. I don't want to consistently being fed only with ideas that I agree with. I want someone to challenge me. And so I will naturally, intentionally click on something that I know is going to probably offend me. And I'm not even going to agree with what they're talking about. That is how growth happens. Yeah. So if you are not willing to look into those opposition that you don't like, people you don't agree with, if you're not willing to disrupt your own algorithm or your own way of thinking, you're going to be stuck in a very narrow way of seeing the world, in a very narrow way of looking at life. Okay. So it is important that as much as you need to navigate from one way or from one content to the next, also constantly shift, mix things up so that you can be challenged. Challenged to think differently. Because if you hate a particular person or a particular ideology and that is all you're watching on YouTube, YouTube will feed you more of that hate.
Right. So, okay. Now, what is the highest level then of using AI or technology to leverage? Remember, we talked about the first level, second level.
Right.
What's the highest level? We talked about communication.
Right.
Being able to prompt. Is there a level higher than that? I guess there's collaboration.
Right.
You using AI. There's communication. Mm-hmm. What's the highest level as an individual where you can place yourself and you're using AI to better yourself and to position yourself as a leader in the marketplace?
Okay, that's an interesting question. And first I would say, I don't think there's a highest level to put it that way. I think that what you need to do is to have the mindset of constantly asking yourself, am I relevant? Am I relevant? And constantly evolving. Because to be honest with you, as much as this thing is disruptive, as much as AI is disruptive, it is still at its infancy. So I'm not an expert in this because we are still all learning. What is this? How do we navigate around this, right?
Sure.
So there is no highest level yet because the world is still getting introduced to artificial intelligence. So we are still at the genesis of it. You can't say, okay, I'm now at the highest level. What level? This thing is still being introduced to us. You get it? So the question to be asking is, how do I stay relevant, consistent?
How do I stay
relevant?
Okay.
Right. Cool. Somebody asked, will AI steal my job? I was like, wrong question.
Why is that the wrong question?
The question should be, how will I evolve in the wake of AI?
Okay.
That is the question, because when you ask that question, you focus on skills, not a job title, not a particular industry. Because no industry is safe from AI. No job title is safe from AI. None. But when you focus on skills, you stay relevant irrespective of industry or job title you hold. I don't know if you get what I mean.
So, yeah, I understand you. So what is the role of then emotional intelligence in the world of AI?
I love that question. It is critical.
Yeah, proper prompting, ne?
It is critical because we are interacting with machines so much that when you actually sit down and have an interaction with a human being, you should feel like, oh, wow, this is great. This is different. That is emotional intelligence.
Yes.
Right? So it is so critical that the World Economic Forum actually listed it as one of the top 10 skills of the future.
Emotional intelligence is one of the top 10
skills of the future.
Wow.
So if you are lacking in emotional intelligence, your ability to manage your feelings and the feelings of another person, if you are lacking in that, then you are essentially a robot. And we don't want any more robots, do we? We already have enough of them. We already have enough machines. So we cannot also afford to have more human beings who are operating like machines. You need to be able to read your environment. That is now becoming a critical skill, which is emotional intelligence. Read people around you. Sometimes I joke about this and say, there are people who hate Monday, not because they hate their jobs, but because there's a particular colleague who makes their life so miserable, or their boss makes their life so miserable, and they just can't handle it. Those are people who lack emotional intelligence. If people around you are miserable, it means you lack emotional intelligence. And it's something to work on. Because if the company is going to, now this is the difference between robotic humans and robots themselves. Robotic
humans and robots themselves.
Yes. Robots are programmed to deliver a specific task. They are not going to deviate from that. But the robotic humans become difficult because it is no one programs it. And unpredictable. People don't want to be around that. But you can sit here and play with the robot because at least for now, it's not going to act out of the code.
Out of character.
Exactly.
The code is the character.
Exactly. Yeah. Right? So, but with robotic humans, they become so unpredictable. They become so difficult to work with. You cannot program them. You cannot code them. You can't do anything. They are just these people. And that is why some organizations have this key or this principle: hire character, train for skills.
You hire for character, you train for skills.
Absolutely.
Does character correlate with emotional intelligence?
Absolutely.
In what way?
In so many ways. It is how you behave. It is how you interact with the world around you. It is how you interact with your team. It is how you manage work under stress, how you manage your own emotions, and how you manage the emotions of the person next to you.
Okay.
That's character.
Right.